On the 7th and last day of the December 97 retreat in Springwater, we will read again from the writings of spiritual teachers, past and present, as well as some poetry. Some of the writings, like Huang Po and Vimalataka, have been abbreviated, some words taken out or translated into English, or paragraphs omitted. This reading is not a presentation of these authors, but to read some new words and listen to some new words of what it is we've been talking about. So hard to put into words, and yet some people have such a rare gift of expressing it. A while ago, someone came to a retreat who told me afterwards that there was just plain too much reading. It was too hard to absorb. He'd have to think about all of this, and then already came a new thing. So I cut things out the next time and got a lot of complaints from people. Why didn't you read this? Why did you leave out that? I was waiting for such and such. So this pile, as you can see by the size of the pile in front of me, it has grown back. A way to listen is to listen in the moment, and when the book is closed, drop it. Don't try to understand it. I think we put up at the end of retreat, because so many people ask for the bibliography of these books so that one can check it out or get the books oneself. And if you have heard these selections many times, as some of you have, it's also very neat to see whether the mind is just sort of humming along, knowing it, or listening freshly. Because then this is a new thing. These are selections from Huang Po, the teaching of Huang Po, Zen teaching of Huang Po, translated by John Blofeld, written down supposedly by his disciple, scholar-disciple Pe Su, who was also governor of the province where Huang Po had his monastery. The master said to me, all the Buddhas and all sentient beings are nothing but the one mind beside which nothing exists. This mind, which is without beginning, is unborn and indestructible. It does not belong to the categories of things which exist or do not exist, nor can it be thought of in terms of new or old. It's neither long nor short, big nor small, for it transcends all limits, measures, names, traces, and comparisons. It is that which you see before you. Begin to reason about it, and you at once fall into error. It is like the boundless void which cannot be fathomed or measured. This one mind alone is the Buddha, and there is no distinction between the Buddha and sentient beings, but that sentient beings are attached to forms and so seek externally for Buddhahood. By their very seeking, they lose it. for that is using mind to grasp mind. Even though they do their utmost for a full eon, they will not be able to attain to it. They do not know that if they put a stop to conceptual thought and forget their anxiety, the Buddha will appear before them. For this mind is the Buddha, and the Buddha is all living beings. It is not less for being manifested in ordinary beings, nor is it greater for being manifested in the Buddhas. Buddha here does not just refer, obviously, to the historical personage of the Buddha, but for the open, undivided mind. Our original nature is in highest truth devoid of any atom of objectivity. It is void, omnipresent, silent, pure. It is glorious and mysterious, peaceful joy. And that is all. Enter deeply into it by awakening to it yourself. That which is before you is it in all its fullness, utterly complete. There's naught beside it. Even if you go through all the stages of progress toward Buddhahood, one by one, when at last in a single flash you attain realization, you will only be realizing that which has been with you all the time. And by all the foregoing stages, you will have added to it nothing at all. You will come to look upon those eons of work and achievement as no better than unreal actions performed in a dream. That is why the Buddha said, I truly attained nothing from complete, unexcelled enlightenment. Questioner. What is the way, and how must it be followed? Wangpo. What sort of thing do you suppose the way to be that you should wish to follow it? Questioner. What instructions have the masters everywhere given for meditation practice and the study of the Dharma? Dharma is the true teaching. Wangpo. Words used to attract the dull of wit are not to be relied on. Questioner. If those teachings were meant for the dull-witted, I have yet to hear what truth has been taught to those of really high capacity. Wangpo. If they are really people of high capacity, where could they find people to follow? If they seek from within themselves, they will find nothing tangible. How much less can they find a teaching worthy of their attention elsewhere? Do not look to what is called the Dharma or true teaching by preachers, for what sort of Dharma could that be? Questioner. If that is so, should we not seek for anything at all? Wangpo. By conceding this, you would save yourself a lot of mental effort. Questioner. But in this way, everything would be eliminated. There cannot just be nothing. Wangpo. Who called it nothing? Who was this fellow? You wanted to seek for something. Questioner. Since there is no need to seek, why do you also say that not everything is eliminated? It's a logical way of thinking. No need to seek, then there can't be anything. Everything is eliminated. Wangpo. Not to seek is to rest tranquil. Who told you to eliminate anything? Look at the void in front of your eyes. How can you produce it or eliminate it? Questioner. Do you mean that we should not form concepts as human beings normally do? Huangpo, I have not prevented you. But concepts are related to the senses, and when feeling takes place and concepts are formed, wisdom is shut out. Questioner. Then should we avoid any feeling in relation to the truth? Huangpo, where no feeling arises, who can say that you are right? Questioner. Why do you speak as though I was mistaken in all the questions I've asked your reverence? Huangpo, you're a man who doesn't understand what is said to him. What is all this about being mistaken? Question. Up to now you have refuted everything which has been said. You have done nothing to point out the true Dharma to us. Huangpo, in the true Dharma there is no confusion. But you produce confusion by such questions. What sort of true Dharma can you go seeking for? Questioner, since the confusion arises from my questions, what will your reverence's answer be? Huangpo, observe things as they are and don't pay attention to other people. There are some people just like mad dogs barking at everything that moves, even barking when the wind stirs among the grass and leaves. This dialogue, incidentally, took place 1,000 years ago. Though others may talk of the way of the Buddhas as something to be reached by various pious practices and by scripture study, you must have nothing to do with such ideas. A perception, sudden as blinking, that subject and object are one, will lead to a deeply mysterious, wordless understanding. And by this understanding you will awake to the truth. Your true nature is something never lost to you even in moments of delusion, nor is it gained at the moment of enlightenment. It is all-pervading, spotless beauty. It is the self-existent and uncreated absolute. Absolute meaning depending on nothing. Ah, it is a jewel beyond all price. Few selections from a compilation of Krishnamurti writings by the Krishnamurti Foundation in India. This is a selection from the Star Bulletin. That was the organization that was founded by the Theosophists for Krishnamurti, which he later left. This is from that Star Bulletin in 1932. The individual problem is the world problem. If the individual has found happiness, has created order within himself, then he will create order in the world around him. And in helping others to solve their own individual problems, he will help to solve the world problem. In helping others solve their problems, one helps the world problem. You think that in seeking the liberation of the self, there is a suggestion of egotism. You think that to be eternally happy is a selfish realization. You think that to be free from sorrow and strife is a desertion of the world. This is a misconception. Liberation is the very antithesis of the sense of ego, of I-ness. It is the ultimate realization for all people. And 8 years later in Ojai, 1940, I personally feel that the world is myself, that what I do creates either peace or sorrow in the world that is myself. And as long as I do not understand myself, I cannot bring peace to the world. So my immediate concern is myself, not selfishly, not merely to alter myself in order to gain greater happiness, greater sensations, greater successes. For as long as I do not understand myself, I must live in pain and sorrow and cannot discover an enduring peace and happiness. A selection of passages is called The Meditative Mind for the study of the teachings of Krishnamurti, put out by the Ojai Foundation. This one is from The Flame of Attention. It is immensely important to know and to understand the depth and beauty of meditation. Human beings have always been asking from timeless time whether there is something beyond all thought, beyond all romantic inventions, beyond all time. They have always been asking, is there something beyond all this suffering, beyond all this chaos, beyond wars, beyond the battle between human beings? Is there something that is immovable, sacred, utterly pure, untouched by thought, by any experience? This has been the inquiry of serious people from the ancient of days. To find that out, to come upon it, meditation is necessary. Not the repetitive meditation that is utterly meaningless. There is a creative energy which is truly religious when the mind is free from all conflict, free from all the travail of thought. To come upon that which has no beginning, no end, that is the real depth of meditation and the beauty of it. This selection is from the Beginnings of Learning and is from a talk to the children at Brockwood School in England. These are high school students. When you sit very quietly or lie down very quietly, the body is completely relaxed, isn't it? Have you ever tried to sit very, very quietly? Not to force it, because the moment you force it, it is finished. To sit very quietly, either with your eyes closed or open. If you have your eyes open, there's a little bit more distraction. You begin to see things. So, after looking at things, the curve of the tree, the leaves, the bushes, after looking at it all with care, then close your eyes. Then you will not say to yourself, what's happening? Let me look. First look at everything, the furniture, the color of the chair, the color of the sweater. Look at the shape of the tree. After having looked, the desire to look is less. I've seen that blue sky and I've finished with it and I won't look again. But you must first look. Then you can sit quietly. When you sit quietly or lie down very quietly, the blood flows easily into your head, doesn't it? There's no strain. That's why they say you must sit cross-legged with head very straight, because the blood flows easier that way. If you sit crouched, it is more difficult for the blood to get into the head. So you sit or lie down very, very quietly. Don't force it. Don't fidget. If you fidget, then watch it. Don't say, I must not. Then when you sit very quietly, you watch your mind. First, you watch the mind. Don't correct it. Don't say this thought is good, that thought is not good. Just watch it. Then you will see there is a watcher and the watched. There's a division. The moment there is a division, there is conflict. Now, can you watch without the watcher? Is there a watching without the watcher? It is the watcher that says this is good and that is bad. I like this, I don't like that. Or, I wish she hadn't said this, or that. I wish I had more food. To watch without the watcher, try it sometime. That's part of meditation. Just begin with that. That's good enough. And you will see, if you've done it, what an extraordinary thing takes place. Your body becomes very, very intelligent. Now the body is not intelligent because we have spoiled it. Do you understand what I mean? We have destroyed the natural intelligence of the body itself. Then you will find that the body says, go to bed at night at the right time. It wants it. It has its own intelligence and activity. And also, if it wants to be lazy, let it be lazy. In case you have not heard of Krishnamurti, he lived to be 90 years old and died in the early 80s, mid-80s. Taught throughout the world. And this is a selection by Nisargadatta from the book I Am That, translated by Maurice Friedman. Nisargadatta was a contemporary of Krishnamurti, also died in the early 80s. Never left India. Lived very humbly after giving up his business as a cigarette and tobacco dealer. All his teaching is in the form of recorded dialogues. Questioner. Maharaj, you are sitting in front of me, and I am here at your feet. What is the basic difference between us? Nisargadatta. There is no basic difference. Questioner. Still, there must be some real difference. I come to you, you do not come to me. Nisargadatta. Because you imagine differences, you go here and there in search of superior people. Questioner. You too are a superior person. You claim to know the real while I do not. Nisargadatta. Did I ever tell you that you do not know and therefore you are inferior? Let those who invented such distinctions prove them. I do not claim to know what you do not. In fact, I know much less than you do. Questioner. Your words are wise, your behavior noble, and your grace all-powerful. Nisargadatta, I know nothing about it all and see no difference between you and me. My life is a succession of events just like yours. Only I am detached and see the passing show as a passing show, while you stick to things and move along with them. Questioner. What made you so dispassionate? Nisargadatta. Nothing in particular. It so happened that I trusted my guru. He told me I am nothing but myself, and I believed him. Self in Hinduism is not the ego, but the whole, unnameable, unconditioned. It's called oneself. He told me I'm nothing but myself, and I believed him. Trusting him, I behaved accordingly and ceased caring for what was not me nor mine. Questioner. Why were you lucky to trust your teacher fully while our trust is nominal and verbal? Nisargadatta. Who can say? It happened so. Things happen without a cause and reason. And after all, what does it matter who is who? Your high opinion of me is your opinion only. Any moment you may change it. Why attach importance to opinions, even your own? Questioner. Still, you are different. Your mind seems to be always quiet and happy, and miracles happen around you. Nisargadatta. I know nothing about miracles, and I wonder whether nature admits exceptions to her laws, unless we agree that everything is a miracle. As to my mind, there is no such thing. There is consciousness in which everything happens. It is quite obvious, and within the experience of everybody. You just do not look carefully enough. Look well and see what I see. Questioner, what do you see? Nisargadatta. I see what you too could see here and now, but for the wrong focus of your attention. You give no attention to yourself. Your mind is all with things, people, and ideas, never with yourself. Bring yourself into focus. Become aware of your own existence. See how you function. Watch the motives and the results of your actions. See how you function. Watch the motives and the results of your actions. Study the prison you have built around yourself. By inadvertence. By knowing what you are not, you come to know yourself. By knowing what you are not, you come to know yourself. One thing is certain, the real is not imaginary. It is not a product of the mind. Once you are convinced that you cannot say truthfully about yourself anything except I am, and that nothing that can be pointed at can be yourself, then you are no longer intent on verbalizing what you are. All you need to do is get rid of the tendency to define yourself, meaning I'm this, I'm that, I should be this, I should be that. All definitions apply to your body only and to its expressions. Once this obsession with the body goes, you will revert to your natural state, spontaneously and effortlessly. The only difference between us is that I am aware of my natural state while you are bemused. Just like gold made into ornaments has no advantage over gold dust, except when the mind makes it so, so are we one in being. We differ only in appearances. We discover this by being earnest, by searching, inquiring, questioning daily and hourly, giving one's life to this discovery. Vimalataka, a contemporary Indian teacher, she used to travel all over the world too. Now she stays in India in 2 spots. People who need to talk with her or hear her talks have to travel there, and people do. This book gives some of the dialogues which took place at Dalhousie in India during the summer of 1989. The book is called Being and Becoming. Again, these are excerpts from a selection. We are talking about an alternative way of living, which is a meditative way of living. Acquire knowledge, let it flow through you, let it be utilized in its relevant field without thought creating the knower. Me, the knower. If we look at the roots of all human misery, we will find that misery is built upon our stupefaction. We do not know how to relate to the social structures and use them without identification, without creating a sense of authority out of them. Structures are not sacred. It is only life that is sacred. Patterns have no sacredness, whether you create them in the name of religion, spirituality, or politics. It is the pattern-free, structure-free, virgin dynamism of life that is sacred, that is divine. Wherever you have touched it with thought, you have manipulated it, you have structured it. It has a utility, but not sanctity. It has a utility, but no authority. Knowledge itself has no power to bind you. It is only identification with the knowledge that creates the illusion of the knower. That is the obstacle. I know. And what I know is right. You have a beautiful, sensitive body, And the sensitivity gets in touch with its respective objects outside, and they bring back sensations. Sensations are converted into electric impulses, and the brain interprets them. It's a marvelous process, what we call experiencing. Contact with the outside world through the senses, which are very delicate, very tender. It is quite hard and arduous work to keep your sensual system pure, healthy, supple, and elastic. Let the experiences flow through the sensual system. Nothing wrong in a sensual sexual experience, but you create an experiencer, or let's say thought creates the experiencer, and gets stuck in the experience, and its likes and dislikes, and so forth. If the sensual contact with objects is allowed to flow through you without creating the experiencer, then the limited human-made world cannot corrupt you. As the oneness of life manifesting into manyness does not get corrupted, does not lose its vitality, does not get mutilated. In the same way you acquire knowledge, you appear as an individual playing the role of a father, a mother, a brother, sister, a son, or daughter. You are one appearing as many. No need for identification with the fatherness, the sonness, the daughterness, the sisterness. And then you don't tie so many knots inside, but play the roles sanely, completely, with the magnificence of an inner equipoise. The word meditation has been identified with psychophysical exercises, with concentrations, methods, techniques, kundalini, shakti paths. The word has been abused and misused. No authority and no effort. Freedom from authority and freedom from the struggle of efforts. Once you know that the man-made enclosures are only to be lived in, then the sense of comparing yourself with others, like he has a palace and I have a hut, he has millions, I only have hundreds. The sense of comparison and the ambition for competition disappears. Your economic life becomes simple. No vanity, no pride about your scholarship, erudition. And your social life becomes simple. You do not move around with a begging bowl for sympathy, acceptance, prestige, acknowledgement. Can you see with me that effortlessness is the content of silence? Silence is not only sitting still, it is a way of living. Meditation has no repetition at all. It is moment to moment. In the moment of relating, you are living. In the moment of aloneness, you are dying. In the moment of relating, you are living. In the moment of aloneness, you are dying. It is living and dying, like inhaling and exhaling. To be alone is to die to the sense of being somebody, of being something. Is not that the content of death and dying? To be alone is to die to the sense of being somebody. Sinner, saint, holy, knowledgeable, respected, rich, poor. To be alone is to die to being something according to the definition of society, according to the value structure of religions. Physically isolating yourself may not lead you to the aloneness. It may or it may not. That is what we're afraid of, dying to the sense of being somebody. Dying to all the images that you have built up about yourself. That is being alone. The way we are tackling the theme may be unusual, unheard of to many. It is a non-conventional way, a non-traditional approach. But I'm really grateful that life brings you and me together. Some poetry from the Enlightened Heart, Anthology of Sacred Poetry, edited by Stephen Mitchell. Lipo 701 to 762. The birds have vanished into the sky, and now the last cloud drains away. We sit together, the mountain and me, until only the mountain remains. Layman Pang, 740 to 808. My daily affairs are quite ordinary, but I'm in total harmony with them. I don't hold on to anything, don't reject anything. Nowhere an obstacle or conflict. Who cares about wealth and honor? Even the poorest thing shines. My miraculous power and spiritual activity, drawing water and carrying wood. My miraculous power and spiritual activity, drawing water and carrying wood. Rumi 1207 to 1273. I have lived on the lip of insanity, wanting to know reasons, knocking on a door. It opens. I've been knocking from the inside. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right-doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. Outside the freezing desert night, this other night inside grows warm, kindling. Let the landscape be covered with thorny crust. We have a soft garden in here. The continents blasted, cities and little towns, everything become a scorched, blackened ball. The news we hear is full of grief for that future. But the real news inside here is there's no news at all. Let's read some Ryokan. He's got a car down at the cottage. We'll combine poems from One Robe, One Bowl, Zen poetry of Ryokan, translated by John Stevens, and then take more from here. No, not like this. An evening dream. Everything must have been an illusion. I cannot explain clearly even one part of what I saw. Yet in the dream it seemed as if the truth were right in front of my eyes. This morning, awake, is it not the same dream? Winter. Drinking sweet sake with the farmers until our eyebrows are white with snow. Ryokan, I must explain, was a hermit. Japanese, lived in the 18th century, late 18th century, 1758 was born. Late at night, listening to the winter rain, recalling my youth. Was it only a dream? Was I really young once? The hour grows late, but the sound of hail striking the bamboo keeps me from sleep. Another blizzard. The mountains are covered with deep snow. From now on, news from town must wait till spring. Wind and snow, then snow and rain. Tonight awakened by the cry of a wild goose in the dark. Endless winter sky. Lying in my freezing hut, unable to sleep. Only the quiet roar of water pouring over a cliff. I lie down near the hearth and stretch out my feet to the fire. But still the cold pierces my belly. No begging in the town again today. The snow falls and falls. Late at night, the snow is piling higher and higher, muffling the sound of the waterfall. The freezing morning rain has let up. What should I do? Fetch water? Chop firewood? Gather wintergreens? In the shadow of the mountains, the firewood burns, brightening my cold little grass hut. Winter will soon be over. Please, please come visit my grass hut. My heart beats faster and faster and I cannot sleep. Tomorrow will be the first day of spring. A thief has stolen my cushion and mat. Why did he break into my hermitage? The door's never locked. The night is ending, and I sit alone by the window. A sparse rain falls gently against the bamboo grove. Lying on my grass pillow, dreaming about this dream world again, lonely, fitful sleep. As I watch the children happily playing without realizing it, my eyes fill with tears. Thinking about the people in this floating world far into the night, my sleeve is wet with tears. The thief left it behind. The moon at the window. Some poems by Mary Oliver, contemporary poet. This one is from White Pine. It's called Work. How beautiful this morning was Pasture Pond. It had lain in the dark all night, catching the rain on its broad back. All day I work with the linen of words and the pins of punctuation. All day I hang out over a desk, grinding my teeth, staring. Then I sleep. Then I come out of the house even before the sun is up and walk back through the pine woods to Pasture Pond. From House of Light, also Mary Oliver, Singapore. In Singapore, in the airport, a darkness was ripped from my eyes. In the women's restroom, one compartment stood open. A woman knelt there washing something in the white bowl. Disgust argued in my stomach, and I felt in my pocket for my ticket. A poem should always have birds in it. Kingfishers say with their bold eyes and gaudy wings. Rivers are pleasant, and of course, trees. A waterfall. Or if that's not possible, a fountain rising and falling. A person wants to stand in a happy place in a poem. When the woman turned, I could not answer her face. Her beauty and her embarrassment struggled together, and neither could win. She smiled, and I smiled. What kind of nonsense is this? Everybody needs a job. Yes, a person wants to stand in a happy place in a poem. But first we must watch her as she stares down at her labor, which is dull enough. She's washing the tops of the airport ashtrays, as big as hubcaps, with a blue rag. Her small hands turn the metal, scrubbing and rinsing. She does not work slowly nor quickly, but like a river. Her dark hair is like the wing of a bird. I don't doubt for a moment that she loves her life. And I want her to rise up from the crust and the slop and fly down to the river. This probably won't happen, but maybe it will. If the world were only pain and logic, who would want it? Of course it isn't. Neither do I mean anything miraculous, but only the light that can shine out of a life. I mean the way she unfolded and refolded the blue cloth, the way her smile was only for my sake. I mean the way this poem is filled with trees and birds. For our last selection, the sun. Have you ever seen anything in your life more wonderful than the way the sun every evening, relaxed and easy, floats toward the horizon and into the clouds or the hills or the rumpled sea and is gone? And how it slides again out of the blackness every morning on the other side of the world like a red flower streaming upward on its heavenly oils. Say on a morning in early summer at its perfect imperial distance. And have you ever felt for anything such wild love? Do you think there is anywhere in any language a word billowing enough for the pleasure that fills you as the sun reaches out, as it warms you as you stand there, empty-handed? Or have you too turned from this world? Or have you too gone crazy for power, for things? We will end here for today.